After Sareks' attack, Burnham is contacted by Sareks' psychic link, the one he used to speak with Burnham during Discovery's opening episode. In the dream, she sees herself being rejected to join the Vulcan Expeditionary Group, a sort of Vulcan Starfleet. Because of her rejection, she instead joins Starfleet but considers herself a failure to Sarek, who hoped she would be a symbol that would bring Vulcans and humans closer together. Back in the present, Burnham joins LT. Ash Tyler, the guy Lorca saved last week, remember, and Cadet Tilly to locate Sarek. The chosen team is a strange one, and one likely picked to serve the plot more than anything else. Lorca doesn't seem to have any hard reason to trust Tyler completely, especially considering the circumstances he found him in. I mean, the guy was tortured by Klingons for 7 months. Is he really already ready for service? Well, funny you should mention that. Oh Captain, my Captain, we've said it before, and we'll say it one more time for good measure. Lorca is the strangest captain in Star Trek history, except maybe Mirror Universe Kirk. His get-it-done-by-any-means-necessary bravado leads him to brash and borderline controversial decisions that don't just draw the attention of the audience, but also the top brass at Starfleet. Admiral Cornwell, who has questioned Lorca's judgment before and also appears to have a thing for him, arrives at the Discovery asking why he would send a potentially unstable ex-Klingon prisoner and a convicted mutineer on a mission together, which is a totally reasonable question. He deflects the question, says that he's in command and control of his emotions. Last week we learned that he killed his entire crew to spare them life in a Klingon prison, and they eventually sleep together. But the next morning or night, it's hard to tell in space, Lorca flips out and almost kills Cornwell, thinking she's an intruder. Cornwell, once again understandably, accuses Lorca of lying and questions his fitness as captain. Before we know the true fallout of the accusation, Burnham is still trying to save Sarek. While probing his mind using a handy tool that initiates a mind meld remotely, Burnham tries to wake up Sarek so he can turn on his ship's transponder. But during her mind-delving, she discovers a terrible truth. Sarek was given a choice: either his adopted daughter Burnham or his half-Vulcan son Spock would be invited to the Vulcan Expeditionary Group, not both. Sarek chooses Spock over Burnham, hiding his shame and making Burnham think she's a failure. Advertisement. Continue reading below. This is the first instance in the entire show that Discovery actually gives something back to the source material. In the original series, we know that Sarek doesn't approve of Spock's decision to join Starfleet, but we don't really know why. Does he hate Starfleet for some reason? Does he think Vulcans are just better? It certainly doesn't come across that he's the champion of human-Vulcan relations. Discovery fills in those gaps by revealing Spock's eventual denial of the post, which means that Sarek sacrificing Burnham's future was in vain. Of course, in the effort to provide us this nice slice of canon backstory, it creates many more questions, with the biggest one being why Spock never mentioned he had a sister. But it'll give Discovery a chance to try to reconcile that plot hole. With Sarek now rescued, we turn back to our battle-damaged captain. Learning of Sarek's important mission to treaty with the Klingons, Lorca convinces Cornwell to take the mission and to meet with the Klingon defectors. But the talks turn out to be a trap, and Cornwell is taken prisoner. This is the first instance in the entire show that Discovery actually gives something back to the source material. Then something really interesting happens. After these duplicitous peace talks, Saru hails the captain in his ready room and reports Cornwell's fate. Instead of being his brash self and rushing to her aid, he orders Saru to contact Starfleet for orders. Saru is slightly puzzled by this response but eventually follows orders. The show closes with the camera lingering unsettlingly long on the captain's phaser, the one he keeps tucked under his pillow. What are we to make of this? Maybe Lorca is listening to Cornwell's advice and trying to do things by the book to save his job. But given what we've seen of the captain so far, we must consider the alternative, knowing that Cornwell was a unique threat to his command. Maybe he rearranged an unfortunate situation to his advantage. Earlier in the episode, Lorca questioned if the Klingons' peace overtures were genuine. Maybe he was counting on his gut being proven right, and Cornwell being removed from the board permanently. Interestingly, the show leaves it vague, which is the first moment of writing that felt truly inspired. Just like the character himself, the moment remains deeply complex, a moment of either strict loyalty or appalling deception. Because as they say, all is fair in love and war. Stray thoughts. My IRL per minute count was much lower this week, but Burnham's scene with Tyler at the episode's conclusion was painful to sit through. There is a very interesting theory circulating about LT. Ash Tyler's true purpose on the Discovery, and this episode appeared to give the theory more validation. Red herring or devastating plot twist. The Vulcans, much like Klingons, are great in this episode if not a little racist, but I love seeing the inner machinations of their society. Racial purity seems to be a big theme with Discovery, with both the Klingons and Vulcans reluctant to let other races interact with their societies too deeply. LT. Stamets is becoming increasingly less annoying. He only had a small part this episode, but it was a good one. Not enough Saru. Need more Saru. Discovery's violence and action sequences are still gratuitous and pointless. The holodeck scene with Lorca and Ash was borderline stupid, and Burnham fighting Sarek inside his mind was basically the Matrix. It even had the same sound effects. Next week's episode seems like another Trek trope. This time travel. I am here for this.